What's something that's not a cult but feels like a cult? Some workplaces. The ones that push the "we're all family here" attitude especially. AKA you won't be promoted. I worked in a place that tried to convince the employees we were a family. They basically meant that they would abuse you and expect you to take it, because family. They actively discourage current employees from socializing with former employees. If an employee left because he was fired, it was because he was a bad example to the others and had to be excised from the group. If an employee left because he got fed up and quit, it was because he was a bad apple anyway, but they had not legitimate reason to fire him yet. Either way, that former employee is no longer one of us and should be avoided at all costs. One employee was chastised for liking too many of a former employee's FB posts. MLMs, but especially Mary Kay. I went to a convention once as the guest of a consultant because she was trying to get me to join. It was very Stepford. Also, she didn't tell me you were expected to dress up, so I showed up in jeans and a hoodie. Haha. I had the exact same experience. Showed up looking normal and realized these were not my kind of people. He said something that's not a cult. AA. I am in AA. I like AA. It saved my life. But it is cultish a lot of the time. Also in AA, also love AA, also agree. Saved my life too. It has its moments. I think one of the key differences between AA and a cult is in AA, you can leave anytime. The Herbalife organization. They were charged with being a pyramid scheme, but they still operate in a similar way. There are several people I grew up with who became hooked on it, and they definitely act like they're in a cult. My niece was involved in that shit. She was constantly posting shit ear memes about how Herbalife wasn't a cult. I worked with a Herbalife rep and we got along well until one day we were talking about the gym and he was giving me tips. The conversation ended up as a sales pitch for me to buy the products he was selling, and I honestly didn't talk to him much after that. Nutri Boom. Boom boom. Please sign here that you've seen Debbie Stobbelman and find her to be happy, healthy, and alive. X_. The Holy Church of CrossFit. I'm a member of the not quite as well known Church of Orange Theory. If you ask us about proper rowing technique, we'll all start chanting at you. Legs, core, arms, arms, core, legs. Rowing is 60% leg drive. Power, patience, patience. When I first joined 2.5 years ago, I came home with my little folder of information and coupons to local businesses, a tote bag, a car magnet, and the heart rate monitor, and said to my husband, I think I just joined a cult. High school clubs where you spend a lot of time together. Marching band and theater are the ones that come to mind for me. This is extremely true of theater, even into the professional ranks. Too many gurus, too little pay, too many abuses. Jesus Christ, the theater one rings true, especially where I went to high school. The drama teacher was a lunatic to everyone but the people in the class, who thought she was a genius. On top of that, the people in the class would always act like assholes to the people who weren't in the class, like they knew something everybody else didn't. Peloton. Seriously. My dad hasn't stopped talking about his since getting it a year ago and went so far as to buy me one for Christmas this year. Which is super generous and my fat ass will totally benefit, but feels like I'm being indoctrinated into something. The instructors are really intense and say culty things. I think the idea is to physically torture you to the point that you don't notice you're being programmed to spread Peloton gospel to anyone who will listen. I've been so bored that joining a cult where I get hotter sounds okay though. Some families. If you're inside the family, you are accepted no matter what and you don't question anything. If you're outside the family, you are treated politely but don't really matter much unless you act as part of the family. If you were part of the family, but betray them, you are excommunicated and they spread lies about you. Whenever my wife and I see signs in people's houses that say something like, "This is a happy family," or "This family lives, laughs, and loves," we like to call it household propaganda. We tend to picture those families the way you describe here. Story of my fucking life. I have experience with this. I grew up in this super small town. My parents were super close friends with about 4 to 5 other couples. We were close to them to the point that we were as close to being related as we could be without actually sharing blood. Aside from my own family, all these people collectively owned more than half the town, and the shit that I saw between them, it really was like a weird small town version of the mafia. I tutored one guy's youngest son in math like 3 times. He tried to pay me $300 each time, and each time I refused, insisting it was just helping out a kid I had known forever. 3 weeks later he takes me to Africa to go on a hunting safari. The smallest kindness was rewarded tenfold, and the rule of the strongest survive was king. One time I was on a vacation with these people. I was trying to read a book in the living room, and this younger kid was trying to provoke me into playing with him. His mom yelled at him to stop or I was gonna beat the shit out of him, and that she wouldn't stop me if I did. When I was 16 I was given a job by one of my dad's friends at an Italian restaurant he owned. The whole goddamn place was a drug front that also sold 5/10 pizza. My boss would snort coke of the sandwich table, and I was told to make deliveries that I'm pretty sure we not fettuccine alfredo. To this day I have a hard time believing this shit was real. My husband's father is like this. It's super weird. My husband is the youngest of 5 boys, several different moms, and has a niece that is 6 months younger than us. On the rare occasion we all get together, she gets lumped into the grandkids while my husband and I are treated more like grown-ups. It was weird cause we are the same age but get treated differently. Of course it doesn't help that my husband and I got married young and had kids young while she lives a more normal 20-year-old life. His dad is also very into family, especially his sons. If you are married or dating someone in the family you are set. If not you are an outsider. Luckily we don't visit him very often cause he lives 10 hours away. His mom is a lot more normal and we see her all the time. It's messed up to say, but this is Mexican culture in a nutshell. Family always comes first. I remember it being taboo to call CPS on your parents. Only spoiled kids called CPS. I remember in middle school, this girl stopped going to school for a long while. Apparently one of her cousins found out she was being molested by one of their uncles and reported it. The grandmother, who knew but always pushed people not to go against their blood, disowned the cousin and the girl. The girl's mother was so upset at the girl for basically getting them excommunicated from the family that she took her out of school and alienated her from pretty much everyone. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.